The following is a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. For more information, please visit our website at dallasgenealogy.org.
Okay. Thank you all for coming today and being online. I'm excited to lead and start off our first hybrid tour of the genealogy collection. I should introduce myself. My name is Stephanie Bennett. I am the manager of this floor, the 8th floor of the Dallas Public Library downtown. We are the genealogy and history floor. And if you have never visited us or are visiting us for the first time, we are actually one of the top 10 genealogy collections in the United States. And the reason for this is because of the size and the scope of the collection. This collection is not just for people who have always lived in Dallas. This collection is not about people who have always lived in Texas. This is a worldwide global collection that recognizes the fact that people who are here, people who are who are visiting the Dallas area, are from all over the world. Just thinking about myself, I am part Lebanese, I'm part Palestinian, and I have Southern roots that also go back generations through Texas. So we are all made up of different places and people to get us all here today. Our collection recognizes that, we recognize that, and we want to find something about your family history here at the Dallas Public Library because family history is for everyone. So to start off with, if you are visiting us for the first time, you are going to want to stop in at our reference desk. And the reason I'm starting with this is because it's the first thing you see off the elevator, and our desk is always staffed by genealogy professionals. Some of us have been with the library and this collection for over 35 years. I started adding it all up, all of our combined experience, including when we first picked up our genealogy books, I got to 150 and got really tired. But know that the folks that you are going to speak to about your family history, these are your people. These are the people whose eyes are not going to glaze over when you tell the story of your second great grandmother. We want to help you discover that family history and find out more about your past and where you came from, because we believe that finding that out is an essential thing for knowing who you are, knowing where you came from, and going forward in this world. So definitely stop in at the desk, talk to our staff. Again, we have tons of experience, can give much better advice than ChatGPT. And we welcome and want to hear your stories. As we go on, I'm leading a big group here. I wanted to spotlight our genealogy computers. These computers are just for genealogy research. You've got free access to AncestryLibrary.com. Save yourself that subscription fee and come to the library and use it for free. We offer free prints, free copies, and you can send anything that you find home to your email. So tons of ways to make discoveries here at the library. We also have a number of other databases, some of which are provided by our wonderful Dallas Genealogical Society, including historygeo.com, newspaper archives, Fold3, and more. So definitely, these computers should be your first stop. I did also want to add that we have our Family Search affiliate library records. So those are going to be records that you're not able to see at home, and will include court records, and different things, even with full text search, that you can't access at home. When you use that full text search, you get extra records on these computers. It's very exciting. I just did it the other day. So as we go on, we're going to walk into our east side of the floor, which is our genealogy collection. And I wanted to note we have one of the largest open collections in the US for our just for our genealogy books. So it's open to browse, but we set aside these tables just for your research. Anybody who sits down is part of our group. We welcome all researchers to sit down and be undisturbed. And I am going to pass you off to our friend Ed here.
Thank you, Stephanie. My name's Ed Boringer, and I've been with the staff since 1988. I wanted to become the German expert on the staff, but the demands of the job are too general to be just niched into one area. Many of us have German ancestry. The latest family tree magazine that I've looked at it said that 41 million Americans claim Germanic ancestry. So I decided to pull some of the most interesting sub collections within our German resources. And we have a lot of resources available, from handwriting books to directories of where to write or correspond with. But I want to begin with, once you've done your initial research into the census and whatever you have within the realm of your own family knowledge, you will want to try to find where in Central Europe that they came from. So this series here, Germans to America, well, the initial series started in begins in 1850, and about 80% of the passengers, or you had to have 80% on a ship to be enumerated by Mr. E. William Philby and Ira Glazer. Those were the two main authors that compiled these works. And it starts in 1850, and then it goes up to, whoops, wrong one, 1897. That's where he stopped. Mr. Philby had been in British intelligence at one point in time, and he became an American. So it's a good place to look if you don't know where they come from. There's also something online called Geogen. Am I saying that right, Bernard? So it will populate on computer online where names are clustered. With my name, it's all pretty much in Baden-Württemberg. So that helped. But my great-grandfather knew where he came from, so that was passed down. That's one series. Another series is these map books. Once you've identified the locality, whether it's a principality, a state, a major city, this will tell you even down to the street where the closest parish is. These are Guide to German Parish Registers. And we've got the entire series, and it's very helpful. So if you happen to have people that remained in Germany, relatives, then oftentimes in the citizenry, this compilation here will give you a clue as to where also the name is dominant. And it may not be your exact family. It may be a spinoff. People move around a great deal. We don't think of them moving, but they do. So this is called the Deutsches Geschlechterbooks. And we have an index on CD-ROM. If you've got a rare name, that's helpful. But if you don't have a rare name, you're going to have to slug through the census and other records until you run across the locality, whether it's naturalization or church books, or obituaries or vital statistics. If you happen to be descended from nobility, that is this book, this series. It's called Genealogisches Handbuch des Adels. Adel means noble. So, and it's stratified, plain nobility. Most of us don't have that. So, mine certainly didn't. So, you've got plain nobility, and then the Freiherr, the baronial level, or lords, as they say in England, and the Graf, which is count, and the Fürst, which is prince. So if you happen to find where your people came from, this is a cute little book here. I went perusing the shelf this morning, and I forgot about this thing. I'm into costume. I didn't wear my wander hat this morning, but or my alpine hat, but this is a lot of fun. So that's one picture. And you can see enough of the props. Any questions? No questions right now. Yes, sir.
So then, is it .org or .com?
I think it's .org. If you come back to the desk later on, just type in GeoGen, Google it, and the compiler, the author is named Christoph Stoppel, Stoepel, and that should pull it up. GeoGen. Okay. All right. So in World War I, we had the Zimmerman telegram where we tried to coax Mexico into being on our side. So I'm going to give it to Mr. Garza, who will talk to you about the Mexican collection.
All right. Thank you, Ed. Howdy, y'all. My name is Alex Garza, and I am our newest staff member here on the genealogy floor. Y'all want to come around over here, get in close, and kind of see what we're talking about? Today, I'm going to be talking to y'all about our Mexican collection and our maps collection, both over here in our northeast corner of the building. So our Mexican collection and Latin America is part of our foreign lands collection. We've got both German, French, areas like that. We do have collections on Spain, as well as collections on Mexico and Latin America, the Caribbean islands, sections like that. And in our Mexican collection, it is both in English and in Spanish. So if you're like a monolinguistic like me, haven't quite picked up the Spanish just yet, we have a lot of tools to kind of help translate with those, because there's a lot of great records in there. We've got records going back to the 1500s from different dioceses, a lot of the church records, marriage, baptism, death, things like that. We've got a lot of land records. We've got several copies of the Borland-Miller report. So if you've got family from down south in Texas who got their land from Spain, we've got those records showing where they were. And that kind of leads us over into our maps collection, because we do have a lot of historical maps that have genealogical significance, be they land record maps, maps of early exploration. We've got some maps that show kind of county breakdowns. We've got maps that even show who lived where, old plat maps, things like that, from different time periods and different locations. It's a little bit less complete than some of our other collections, but it does have a lot of great gems if you start kind of digging through it, and if you kind of know where you're looking for and roughly when you're looking for. There's got a lot of great uses in the maps. I used to be a land surveyor myself, and there have been times where I've helped folks try and track down where a murder took place, because they know he was traveling from one county to another across state lines. And so we were able to find maps from that time period, about the 1830s, figure out what the common trails were. So there's a lot of things, especially you're trying to track your family's migration, or you just want to know what the land looked like when they lived there, when they settled there, what were they seeing? We have maps that can really help you establish that and really kind of see what your ancestors saw in where they settled and why they might have moved there. There's a lot of great research actually into, if you're doing research in the Appalachians, a lot of folks from Scotland and that part of England settled there because it's part of the same mountain range. And there's a lot of evidence showing that they found a place that felt like home. And when you're looking at the maps, especially the topological maps, you can kind of see what they were seeing, why they felt it was similar to where they came from. All right. Are there any questions? Yes.
The maps and the pull-out drawers over this way?
So we have two sections of maps. We do have the old government maps from the 6th floor over there. We have a large collection of topological, geologic, and highway maps over there. However, over in this corner, as I was pointing out earlier, we do have our genealogical maps. So any maps that we feel have genealogical significance, things like that, we have set up over here. Any other questions? Yes.
About the land grants, do you have
Yes.
maps of like the families and where
Mhm.
those grants were in South Texas?
Yes. So Borland and Miller were a couple of surveyors hired by the U.S. in 1848 after the Mexican-American War, when Texas was officially brought in as a state. That border of the Rio Grande was solidified. So they went down and they wanted to track, all right, who owns what land, who owns it now, so that they could really set the groundwork for kind of the land ownership going forward in the state of Texas. And so we have their initial surveys, both in book form. We don't really have the old full maps of those, but we do have several books on those that show who owned it where, who was the original grantee from the Kingdom of Spain, and who owned it in 1852 when Borland and Miller submitted their second report. They lost their first in shipwreck. Any other questions?
What area of Texas do those maps cover?
So those specific maps cover down south along the Rio Grande, mostly in what's called the Villas de la Norte region of Mexico. So around Rio Grande City, down towards the coast. So Camargo, Mier, Reynosa, and a few others, maybe Montemoros, and a few others around in that area. We also do have maps that cover most of the rest of Texas, from various counties and things like that. I had someone researching up in Montague County the other day. And so I was able to find a couple maps going back into the mid 1900s, early 1900s, showing the geology of the region. And so they were kind of interested in that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any others? Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Repeat the question.
Oh, yes. So to repeat the question, patron was asking, they have a lot of topo maps that they don't generally use, but they want them to be useful. So they were wondering if they can donate them to the library, and we absolutely do accept donations. Mostly we accept them of books, but we do accept them of maps and other genealogical material of interest that folks feel others might be interested in. And on that point of donating your genealogical research, I'm going to head over to Mick with our family files. Yes, sir.
Do title companies have access to these maps?
Title companies? Yes. They can come up here, anyone in the public can. So they can have their own records. And they'll usually go to the front of that display. We generally have the copies of them.
Start at the far end and come this way.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we've got a pretty good section around here where everybody can kind of gather. I'm going to start here and then end up down whatever that is, 15 feet from me. So my name is Mick Barnett. I've been with the library since about 2006 or something. And most of the time I've been up in this department. I've been a genealogist since I was 12 and for a couple of years anyway. Been But anyway, one of the tasks that I have here at the library is I take care of the vertical files. And I sometimes think about them as being potpourri, because there's not just family files. Our family files begin on the next side, over where the lady with the white hair is. That's drawer one, and it continues down to the left, and then down to this way, and then down to this way. So there's about 46 drawers currently, and we've got a whole bunch that I have not worked that are in the back. And what I do is I take the major family, I make the file for that family, but I go through through the files and see what collateral families might also be there. And I make basically I work an Excel sheet. And so the collateral families would let's say we're doing McGillicuddy, and we have Smith or Jones. I'll say Smith or Jones, see McGillicuddy. So you would look, it would tell you to go for the McGillicuddy family. That's usually in this book. It's not up to date. I'm trying to get it a little more up to date. And so you can find anything in these family files. There's photographs. I found, and when I initially started, there was an early Texas land patent in there from 1850 something. So, which was pretty cool. If we find things like that, photographs and stuff, we take it out of the file. We make copies of it, digital copies, make a file, photocopy, stick the photocopy in the folder, and then we keep in acid-free condition in the back. We have a bunch of obituaries. In particular, we had this gentleman who used to come in here, and for the longest time, I didn't have faintest idea who he was. All I knew was there were obituaries being put in those family files. And finally, I caught him one day. And I asked him to please tell me when he was doing it. And so anyway, I have been through most of the files. And I made them basically, pulled them out, and they're to be processed. We'll probably make a photocopy of them, and so forth, and make an Excel spreadsheet. But the ones that he was doing was primarily Irving, some of the mid cities, surprisingly, South Dakota and Iowa. Okay, that's where he was from. So he was putting all this stuff. So, we're going to have a great collection whenever we get this processed for people in Iowa and South Dakota. But they're more modern day. But then we also I pulled some of them out of the other folders here. So we have those in there as well. So basically right now we don't have an index of them. I have in the surname files, I pulled one. Here's a McDaniel family file. They have made it into, they done put it in a little notebook, and that's nice. Most of the files don't have notebooks and stuff. They're just loose papers and files. If you're researching Davy Crockett's family over in Granbury, this is his, somebody was working on his family. Here's somebody's working on the Muse family up in colonial Westmoreland County, Virginia in the 1600s. That's one of my families. Then another of our collections is a subject file. And this is anything. It's states, it's international, it's topics. Let's see, I think I got a folder around here. Anyway, it's like I got states, U.S. records, societies, heraldic societies, royalty things, cemeteries, a file on disasters such as hurricanes like Katrina, 9/11, a lot of stuff on DNA, different types of DNA, military, how to research military, insignias of military, just all kinds of subjects like that. Adoption, all the hospitals and asylums and places that would have taken in children at any time. So if you're doing adoption, and we talk about the adoption records in the state of Texas as well as other states, vital records, ethnic and religious different societies and stuff. We have things like that, how to do it. We have an international collection of that type of stuff. This is some examples here of some of the genealogy societies and heraldic. We have another collection here of newspaper columns, such as Lloyd Boxer's columns. They published one volume of, I think it's like his early columns from 1991 to 1996.
His actual book is in the book.
No, actually, this came off of the shelf. This was published by the Dallas Genealogical Society, but his actual files are here. Okay, so these are some of the actual clippings from the newspaper somebody's done, and then the lady named Margaret Thetford wrote the column that Lloyd took over. Lloyd took it over about 1991 or so. And prior to that, there was another lady who did it, Ann Hunt, and we have a lot of hers. So we have it going back into the 1980s. I don't know. Actually, this one here is 1975. So that's the columns that were published in the Dallas Morning News. I used to publish a column in the Houston Chronicle, and this is some of mine from 1990 to 95 or so, like that. I used to be the president of the ISHWI. That's a mouthful. International Society of Genealogical Columnists and Editors. And I'm trying to get a complete set of that. It went on for about 20, 30 years, and it was members of that were columnists all over the whole United States. So I'm trying to get hold of that. Then we have surname quarterlies and newsletters, and we've got several drawers of that. It's from A to Z, and they're in these drawers here. So, and they're alphabetical.
What is a surname quarterly?
What's your last name?
Lizardo.
Lizardo Family Quarterly. I don't know if there was one. If you were the editor, there might be one. Or if you have a cousin named Lizardo. So that's what a family surname quarterly would be, or a journal, or a newsletter, whatever term you want to call it. And that's what it would be. I don't recognize Lizardo as one of them here, but it would not surprise me. Sometimes it might come under Hispanic newsletters or something like that. So that type of thing. Anybody else?
Just a question. Can you be contacted by email?
I can.
I'd be very happy to hear
Actually, we have one for the department. I think it's like genealogy at dallaslibrary.org or something to that effect. It's on our website, but you can send an email, and also it would be mick.barnett is my name. And that would go in front of the Dallas Genealogical, DallasLibrary.org. So,
Yes, our email is genealogy@dallaslibrary.org.
just like she said. It's dallasgenealogy.org. Any other questions? Great. Okay.
Now we're going to be going over to our world famous genealogist, Ari Wilkins.
Hello, I am Ari Wilkins, and this is the direction. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's better over here. Okay. I am Ari Wilkins, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the highlights of our manuscript collections. One of the manuscripts collections that we have is our historic Bible collection. So a lot of these have been donated to our collections over probably as long as I've been alive. We have about 25 Bibles in our historic collection, and I want to say that they're dating back to even the late 1700s. One of the things that I was very surprised to see in this collection is it doesn't just cover Dallas or Texas ancestors, but it's covering people from all across the country and even all across the world, as it's showing them immigrating from one country to the next. We even have one Bible that's in German. And so this Bible here is the Gauze family Bible. And as you can tell, it's very old and it's very fragile. One of the special things about these Bibles is this is going to be a primary source material for birth, marriages, and deaths, especially when you consider records that weren't required before 1903. This is going to be your primary source here, right? And so it's going to include all sorts of things, information within the Bible, how they died sometimes. It talks about where they died. It talks about where they migrated to. Within these collections, I've also found other mementos, whether they were obituaries or pressed flowers or a silk ribbon. There's all sorts of things within this collection. One of the other things that's special about this collection is I personally worked on it and was able to digitize our collection. So you will now find this on our new part component of our website called Recollect. And so you will be able to search and look at the scanned pages, because you can tell that this Bible is very fragile, so we don't bring it out for patrons. So another one of the collections that I want to talk to you about is the McGowan Funeral Home collection. And this was an African-American funeral home that operated here in Dallas between 1950s through the early 1990s. And I had the great opportunity to start processing this collection when we first got the collection, and we were told to... Did it go out?
Breaking up.
Okay, use this one instead.
Use both.
Here we go. Okay, so I was told to process the collection and move any metal fasteners, but don't read the material. You say don't read the material, of course. How can you not read the material? And so there's so many interesting things within these folders. First and foremost, I want to say that when it starts in the 50s, there are photographs within these files that might be the only photograph someone ever had of this person. Or someone's coming into our collection and they're like, I've never seen a photograph of my great grandfather. And we're like, there's one here in his folder. There are... How many of you guys happen to know that there's a front and a back side to a death certificate? Because when they microfilmed it, they only microfilmed the front side. There's information on the back side. And one of the things within these folders too is there's numerous drafts of the death certificate. So as they got more information or as they got a cause of death, they're building upon that information, but they're filling it out again. So you can see a story start to take shape. There are obituaries within it. There are original certificates and documents, like this insurance record for Masonic. It's a Masonic relief department, which helped pay for the burial. There are funeral programs, and the African American group is currently working on digitizing those funeral programs to add them to our Recollect software also. There are so many different personal elements within these folders where people sent telegrams sending their condolences, or a wife was out of town when her husband passed and says, please hold the body until I get there. I'm in San Francisco. There's an instance where the funeral home sent a bill to the deceased spouse, and she sent a letter back and said, no, he died at Linda's house. Send the bill to Linda's house. There's so many things that you don't think about. First of all, like if somebody died while they were on vacation and they had to have their body shipped across state lines, and the amount of paperwork that it took, whether they were going by car, transported by car, or on an airplane or a train, all of these things, all of the things that it took to have them buried with the right clothes on. It talks about their last moments before they died, when like they've called an ambulance and they died on the way to the hospital. It tells about all of these last minutes, you know. There's so much information that, again, they told us not to read it, so I was sneaking and reading it. So I feel like I haven't even seen all that there is to offer, and there's a good 25 to 27 boxes of these. I also want to add that DGS originally set up a whole database, and so you can see that database from the DGS site, the McGowan Funeral Home files. You can see these also. I also want to mention, even though I don't have an example here, we also have the Ed C. Smith Funeral Home Collection that operated from 1900 to, I believe, the 80s. And so that's a whole nother funeral home collection that's a little bit different from this collection, but it gives you a lot of really great information. So do we have any questions before I turn it over to the next person? Yes.
Comment, Oakland Cemetery turned all their records over to at one.
Yes,
That's
and
fast.
a person in the audience was talking about that Oakland Cemetery turned their records over to us, and yes, they did, and we're very fortunate to have them. I believe that the 7th floor in Texas history is the one that holds those records, and that's also another active project that people are working on.
Just
Donald?
another point of interest, original World War I and World War II discharge documents. is in the
Yes,
collection.
there are a lot of original documents that you're going to find within this collection. Donald, for the people online, Donald mentioned that there are World War I and World War II discharge papers within these folders. Sometimes you will find original marriage records within these folders, because you have to think that this is before the time that you could just go to the store and make a copy of something in Xerox. It's like, this is the only copy I have. Here it is. And so you will find all sorts of things that are original documents that they just handed over and never came and got back. So this is an incredible collection that I invite you guys to come and look at. So now I'm going to turn this over to Kevin, who is going to talk to you about our largest collection, which is going to be the United States States Collection.
Two.
We have two.
Okay, it's always nice to follow Ari as a speaker. So anyway, my name is Kevin Jennings. I've been in this division for about 5 years now, and behind me is our state and county records collection. And as Ari mentioned, it's the largest collection in the genealogy section. It's about 70,000 items, and they are arranged alphabetically by state. And then within each state, first you have the state records in general, and then you have county specific records, and the counties are arranged alphabetically as well. So we feel like the arrangement makes it very easy to browse. If you don't have a specific item that you're here to look for, you just want to browse a county, you can go straight to it. So we have material over here ranging in time from all the way back to the colonial era up well into the 20th century. So you never know what you're going to find over here. We have a lot of different kinds of records, from county histories to city directories, baptism and church records, just almost anything, property, court, tax records, all those sorts of things. And many of the items that we have here are one of a kind, and a lot of them haven't been digitized yet, so they're not available online. So it could be that the only place that you can find some of this information is right here at the Dallas Public Library. So, for instance, one of my personal examples that I found in the Illinois section in Sangamon County is early settlers of Sangamon County. So not only does it have about a 2.5-page section on Abraham Lincoln, because Springfield is in Sangamon County, but it has information on members of 2 of my lines, the Moores and the Crowders. And it actually helped me to find my 5th great grandfather, Philip Crowder, who was a Revolutionary War veteran who was also at Yorktown. So you never know what you're going to find when you start looking over here. So I think it would behoove you to come down and take advantage of this collection. Do you have any questions? Anyone? No? Okay. So let's go right around the corner here, and Terry will tell you about our Heritage Lab.
Thank you.
Oh, listen.
We're not all going to fit, so I'm going to talk a little bit about out here, and then if you guys want to take a look later on, we can do that. I can move. Ready? Okay. Welcome to the Heritage Lab. This space is dedicated to digitizing your family memories. DGS has played a huge part in this. They paid for the glass walls, which gives privacy as well as security. We're going to talk about the equipment in a semicircular fashion. The first thing we're going to talk about is the copybook. That's essentially, if you've got, it has a camera that comes down and lets you take pictures of things like scrapbooks, things that are larger in format. So scrapbooks, posters, that kind of thing. It has some pretty advanced software. DGS not only paid for that, but also helps pay for its upkeep. So we're very excited about that. To the left of that is we have 2 computers that are dedicated to things like digitizing your VHS tapes, your 8mm film, your Super 8mm film. So if you've got one of those that are sitting around the house, like for example, one of my favorite tapes is when I was graduating from high school and Dad was following I and my mom around Old San Juan with a camera. Now, he got lots of pictures of our butts because that's what he was behind us. But it's the last picture I have when I was still at home. So the other computer is dedicated to digitizing things like pictures, slides, that kind of thing. We have an Epson scanner that does that. Both computers have the full Adobe Creative suites. So if you want to learn how to use Illustrator or one of the other Adobe softwares, just come talk to us. The last thing that we have is the Vivipix memory station. What that does is we take it for outreach opportunities. It lets people scan pictures, but also narrate those pictures. So if you have a family story of your World War II grandfather, great-grandfather, or for example, we took it to an event and the family's patriarch had just died, like a couple months before. And so they brought pictures and they narrated those pictures so that they could take memories of their father and then send them to relatives. So with the memory station, with the whole Heritage Lab, if you want to use the equipment, you do have to do some online training, and then you have to call us and make an appointment. Most of that is simply for, so we don't double book people. So it doesn't cost anything, it's just other than your time. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Your Epson scanner, does it do double side scanning or do you have to actually flip it?
You have to flip it. Yes,
Does it do stacks of like pictures or slides?
one at a time. And that's the same with if you're digitizing your 8mm film or your VHS, it takes as much time as the film itself takes. So if you've got an hour-long VHS tape, it's going to take an hour to film it, to digitize it. No shortcuts, sorry.
Does it also do the smaller tapes?
Yes, it will do cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cassette video.
Yeah, we have sorry, the name escapes me, an adapter. So
Okay, thank you.
You need to be a library patron or a Dallas resident to use this?
you don't have, thank you for asking. You don't have to be a Dallas resident to use the equipment, but you do at least have to get an internet card. And you get that down on the first floor. You just have to show them picture ID, because we do check out the equipment to you, and then you have to come back to the desk for us to check it back in. Or else you're going to have a $30,000 piece of equipment on your library card or on your internet card. You don't want to do that.
We're giving fines now, right?
Not that big. No. You'd be getting a phone call. Anybody else have any questions?
So I'm guessing on the camera that comes down, then it sounds like it would be advantage for, we have some old photo albums that are put together in such a way, it's almost like scrapbook, that it's difficult to pull the photos out and scan them. So, so to be able to open that up and get a high quality
absolutely
of the albums and flip through,
the software that's
really good for that.
Absolutely. The software that goes with the scanner actually has a way where if you put like a scrapbook or a old photo album down, it'll take a picture and it'll separate them out.
Okay.
So you can get high quality images, scans of those pictures in those albums.
Okay.
Do you have the ability to do Betamax tapes?
I don't think so. I think it's just VHS tapes.
Thank you.
Of course. Anybody else have any other questions? Well, I'm going to hand this over to Stephanie. Stephanie will close our tour with some exciting projects that we're working on.
Hi there. I was going to walk everybody back over that way, but it's going to be too crowded. So we'll just close it here. I wanted to thank you all for coming today. You don't know how much I am excited to see people interested about researching and discovering their family history. I just wanted to mention that we have a full slate of programs coming up for September, October, November. Please check our library calendar. You're welcome to also check our DGS calendar because we partner together for our program calendar. We have wonderful things slated coming up. We have an annual Family History Day, Friday, October 17th. Make sure to mark your calendars for that. It's going to be all-day programs. We have bi-weekly Wednesday afternoon programs that are just as we are seeing today, in person and online at the same time. Our next program is going to be this Wednesday, and we're going to be talking all of our favorite genealogy websites other than the one that you've automatically thought of. So make sure to tune in for that. You're going to see some familiar faces when we have each one of our staff profile their favorite website. I do also want to make sure that y'all have our contact information. You can reach out to us by phone, 214-670-1433, or you can give us an email at genealogy@dallaslibrary.org. We're always happy to connect with you and hear your family history stories because things like that just make our day and make our work worthwhile. Yes, I'm going to turn our mic over to Tony Hansen and question in the back. Oh, yes. The question from the audience was, please tell us our hours. Our hours are going to be Tuesday and Thursday, 9 to 8. Wednesday and Friday, 9 to 5. Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 4. And we are closed on Mondays. Any other questions? Yes, it is online. DallasLibrary.org. Our website has changed. We're now just DallasLibrary.org. If you have any bookmarks, we're on the new website. And before we go, I just want to thank DGS for all of their support. All of this technical setup I could have never done by myself. So we want to acknowledge our wonderful outgoing president, Tony Hansen, who makes us all look and sound better and than maybe we are. So I wanted to turn this over to him with our thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, library staff, for a wonderful tour. I just want to mention none of this comes for free. Probably heard that the city budget is under intense pressure right now. There's a lot of cutting going on, and some of that may spill over to the library. We do happen to be running a North Texas Giving Day campaign, raising funds specifically to support this department of the library. Every penny donated there goes to that and nowhere else. So I would just encourage you to look at that. And if you think this is worth supporting, we'd sure love to see some dollars kind of match that support. Thank you for being here. Thank you again, Stephanie, and everybody in the library staff. And thank you for those of you that have joined us on Zoom, and we'll see you again soon. This has been a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. If you're already a member, thank you. Your fees have been supporting these and other society activities. If you're not yet a member, please consider joining now. Go to dallasgenealogy.org and click on the membership tab.